Hey y'all, welcome back to Mama Loves Manga. I hope y'all have been well. I'm happy to see y'all and I'm happy to get into this manga chat. Today I am talking about two one-shot volumes in clothes called Fat by Moyoco Anno and All My Darling Daughters by Fumi Yoshinaga, who y'all know by now is pretty much one of my favorite mangaka ever, right next to Clamp, like right up there. I love her work, I love her art. So on that note, let's start with All My Darling Daughters. Let's get into this. So the art style. I've talked about Fumi Yoshinaga's work on this channel many times, but as per usual, her work is very simplistic, elegant, also beautiful. But I will say that as I'm reading her works, I'm noticing that the majority of her series, she does not really focus on the background. Because she doesn't really do a lot of backgrounds in most of her stories, you are forced to look at the character, to really pay attention to them. And she puts so much detail into facial expressions. Like for example, here and here, I love how talented she is with making her characters feel like real people, giving them expressions, like actual real looking expressions. Moving on to the actual story. So Yukiko and Mari are mother and daughter. The initial premise is that Yukiko and Mari still live together. Yukiko is in her 30s, well, late 20s, early 30s. She's a salary woman, but she still lives with her mother, which is pretty common. I think a lot of people, especially in Asia, still live with their parents because it's really expensive to try to live on your own. It's just the two of them, and it's been just the two of them since Yukiko was a kid. But Yukiko's mom surprises her by saying, oh hey, by the way, I got remarried. And I remarried someone who is not just younger than me, but also younger than you, boo. He's like 27, and I assume that Yukiko's mom is in her probably early 50s. So it's a huge age gap. They are both adults though. It couldn't be me, but more power to Mari, Yukiko's mama. Get it, hey, get it, get it, hey. I would love to see more romances that are centered around older women. I'm in my 30s, but I'm going to be in my 40s and 50s one day. Now, listen. I have no intentions of ever getting married again because I don't have time to teach someone how to deal with this, you know? I don't know what that was. Chapter 1 focuses on Yukiko, Mari, Mari's new husband, and them sort of navigating through that. Chapter 2 focuses on this young man who is a college professor and this relationship that he's having with a student. By the time you're in college, you are legally an adult. You're 18 and up. Most people. Some people are really smart and they go to college early. I wasn't one of those people. But anyway, I still think that a teacher-student relationship is inappropriate because there is that power dynamic, and of course there's the issues of, is that teacher going to give that student they're dating like perks and like better grades and things like that. So there's an ethical issue with it, but as far as the age goes, I don't really care. They're 18 and up. Okay, chapter 3 was my favorite chapter out of all of them because it went a way that I was not expecting, and I will not give spoilers. But chapter 3 follows a young woman. Let me see what her name is. I can't remember. Her name is Saya. I think her name is Saya. Let's see, hold on. Sayako, yeah. So chapter 3 focuses on a young woman named Sayako. Sayako is one of Yukiko's best friends, so that's how she fits into the story. Sayako is this beautiful, successful woman, but she's not married. And, you know, especially from what I've read about like Japanese culture, it does seem like it's a big deal if you're in your late 20s into your 30s and you're not married yet. I don't understand why, but it seems like it's a pretty big deal. So people are like, you're beautiful and you're smart and you're all of these things. Why aren't you married? Like, you could literally pick anyone you want. Why haven't you? Why aren't you dating? And she's like, well, actually, I'm going to start doing like blind date. The whole time you're reading her story, you're really rooting for her, because I'm like, I want you to find love. I want you to be happy. And she does meet someone that she likes a lot. And I'm gonna stop there because the twist, like, I did not see it coming. And even after rereading this, I reread this before doing this video, and the twist still hit me in my heart. Like, I knew what was gonna happen, and I was still like, oh no, can't it be different? Overall, I loved this story. I 100% recommend it. I would say maybe 16 and up could read this and get something out of it. That's all I have to say about All My Darling Daughters. Let's switch over to In Clothes Called Fat by Moyoco Anno. It's not my preferred aesthetic. Y'all know I am a huge fan of Clamp and of course Fumi Yoshinaga. It has a very frantic feel to it. A very cartoonish, over the top, dramatic feel. The main character starts out at one weight and ends up eventually losing some weight, and she looks completely terrifying. She does not look healthy. While the art style is not my preferred aesthetic, it really lends something to the story. It's like a grittiness, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but it adds something to the story. Speaking of the story and the characters, on the back this says that it's a dark comedy of manners. It's very dramatic, very over the top. Noko has issues with her weight. She is, by her own description, fat. And it doesn't help that she's in a work environment where she's having to deal with this awful woman who happens to be thin and happens to be the stereotypical beauty. So I read this story twice, and both times as I was reading it, I found myself in the beginning sympathizing with Noko. And I, of course, hated the main mean girl whose name is, I think her name is Mayuri or something like that. It doesn't matter what her name is, she's a terrible person. She makes me think of like the soap opera villains who are just evil for no reason. That's what she is. There is another young woman that Noko sort of befriends at work, and she seems like a character you could be sympathetic to, but then she also turns out to be a little bit kind of out there. You have Noko's boyfriend, I think his name is Saito, and at the beginning Saito seems like he's this fairly good-looking, nice guy who doesn't really care about looks, and he's with Noko because he loves her, but you find out that's a lie. This story makes me uncomfortable, and to be honest, I think that's the point of it. In some ways, it made me want to pick up a sandwich. Granted, I've always been very thin, and this is just how I am, but I've always had a complex about my size, and I used to have an unhealthy relationship with food to where like I would purposefully overeat because I was trying to gain weight. As I grew up and came into my adulthood and got more comfortable with my body, I realized for me it's more important to eat fairly healthy than it is for me to try to gain weight to fit into whatever beauty standards are currently the thing right now. So even still, reading this kind of triggered me because it really did make me feel like, oh my gosh, I'm too skinny. Like those old insecurities started popping up. If you have like body issues, trigger warning. It's a great read if you are interested in effed up-ish. But I do think that it's an interesting read, and I would actually like to read more of her works because she seems to talk about some pretty dark, heavy things, very adult. This is absolutely something that is only for 18 and up. I don't recommend this for anyone under the age of 18. Well, I mean, read what you... People are gonna read whatever they're gonna read. I wouldn't recommend this for anyone under the age of 18 because it does have some explicitness, and there's a character in here, this old man who is creepy as heck. It's such, I don't know how I still don't know how I feel about this, but it's worth the read, even if you just want to read it so that we can talk about it. That's all I have to say today about these two titles. If you have read either one of these, let me know in the comment section. I know that Lindsay Tutt has read, I think, both of these, and Bizarre Individual has read In Clothes Called Fat. Lindsay Tutt and Bizarre Individual have been hosting a monthly buddy read, and every month they choose, you know, a different title to read. Wow, that was duh, Aisha. Anyway, and I think this was for the month of February, maybe March. I can't remember which month, but I did read these, and I'm just now getting to talking about them because I kept putting it off because I wanted to reread them. I'm finally doing it. And on that note, I'm gonna go. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye. Oh, did I not? I thought I pushed the button.